Hello, and yeah, I want to share intensely, something intensely amazing that have happened recently to me. I actually met online a, uh, yeah, how to even describe it? An incredibly beautiful woman who just blows my mind away. Like her talents, her spiritual talents, and like just her way of being is just is just incredible to me. And her way of being is giving me a sense of comfort, and it is simply divine in many ways. And though she lives very far away, so physically we cannot meet yet. And yeah, I have decided to travel to her. Then you may ask, why haven't I gone there already? I don't even have a passport, so I like can't in this physical world. Like, in this physical world where you need a passport to sort of travel, like wherever that place is from where I am at. Um, so yeah, it is. Why I'm avoidant of this spot because the sun is going to be in my face. Okay, it isn't. Well, it's sort of bad, but my eyes. Okay, let's go back over here. Okay, so yeah, but we have interacted, talked for about a week or so, and yeah, like there's so much self-reflection. There's so much, like, she and we are so similar. It is almost scary. Like our experiences, like feeling experiences, like they are so similar, and yet we also have many polarity aspects. Aspects such as if she is good at something, or if she has a vibe that is fairly high in some area, and then I might have a vibe in that area that is sort of the opposite of it. And we share each other, like some aspects that are like that. That if she is like in this way, I am either the opposite end, or maybe we share a similar, like it is, but the core sense for both of us is really that our desire for intimacy and closeness. And so we, because of that sort of sharing and understanding of each other's, because of that resonance of similar experiences, we feel that sense of belonging with each other. Like it is a sense of familiarity that feels safe and comforting. And so, yeah, a lot of expansion can come out of it, or a lot of learning, because because of that sort of sense of safety, it gives rise to a lot of things like triggers and shadow aspects, and belief feelings like that might otherwise be very hidden in yeah, in areas of life that might not always be apparent when you are alone with it. And so, and one of the reasons I am recording this now is one of those feelings have popped up for me. It is fear, a huge amount of fear. I'm so afraid. It might be loneliness I'm so afraid of. I just, I have felt so lonely. It is almost like, it isn't even that I was put in to be lonely. No, I chose that loneliness a long time ago. Repeatedly. Like, I chose to be lonely because of my parents' treatment. I chose to be lonely because they they hurt me again and again unconsciously. Even when I wanted to get them close, they still hurt me. When I wanted to laugh with them, they hurt me. I tried getting in on their jokes, but they laughed about it, but it hurt me. I couldn't, like, I couldn't, be like them. Even if I tried to be like them, I couldn't. So I chose loneliness. And most often at times, at those sad times, I I often ran away from them. They were the ones I felt or perceived hurt from, and thus I felt no true safety with them, ever. Like feelingly, there were no safety in the environment I grew up in. But I had no choice. I was so dependent on them for survival. They had no way of sort of working with these sort of feelings. And so these things have laid dormant in me. It has basically become part of my life. To feel this loneliness and the fear of being lonely. Now that I have found a being who have very similar feeling experiences, I'm just so afraid of, because whenever we speak, I can feel that familiar sense of safety and comfort. Knowing that this sort of feeling exists whenever we stop talking. I feel this huge sense of loneliness again. I know I chose this path a long time ago, but it doesn't mean that it is, graceful or anything. I still feel this hurt and this loneliness. Just imagine, like, I chose loneliness even when they knocked on my door. I didn't even want them to get close to me because I feared that they would hurt me. And I did let them get in from time to time, but that only broke my own emotional boundary at the time. Because they wanted to do something they didn't even understand or want to understand. They just wanted something with me. They just wanted something, but it wasn't, consideration or an apology of anything. They just wanted to. They just. So I, plenty of time, I just shouted and screamed at them to leave me alone. And they disrespected that a lot of times. They didn't respect my want and wishing to be alone. But now, for so long time, even when I moved out, I didn't want anything to do with the world because I was so afraid they would hurt me again. But now, after a lot of years and, a lot of years of self-awareness, practices and asking questions and spiritual practices of integration and all of it, I am getting curious about the world again. I am getting curious about beings and people in general. And now that I have found a being who is curious about me, who does want to be me close, and who wants to, who wants to, just. I just want to make her happy. I can't cry in front of her. It isn't that. I want to. Because I want her to see everything of my being. I want to be as open and honest as I possibly can. And if I hurt her, I want to apologize. It is important to me. Because I can feel when these small things of hurt or women have a tendency to, as far as I have learned on my journey, and women on the internet, whenever they say they are okay, like they are okay, they are fine, like don't worry about it, like to me that sounds like an escape. Like to me it sounds like I'm fine. No, I'm not fine. Things are not okay. And like, yeah, you should worry about it. That's how I perceive it. Like, there are women who are genuine, but sometimes when I ask and they respond like that, there is something deeper. They are like not really getting to the surface. But I won't push them. Okay, definitely. Because I mentioned it, I sort of want to push them too. But yeah, but at the same time, I really can't, I want women to be as they are. I want to allow them to, if they feel that they want to sort of suppress their feelings and don't really want to get into it, yeah, I want them to be like that, Just because I am used to sort of face these things, it doesn't mean that everyone is. But yeah, my way of doing things is very direct, feelingly speaking. Like, I mean, when I say very, like, I mean fiercely direct. Oh, the sound is... No, I can't change this. There. And this sort of sense can scare beings. I haven't pushed her that much yet. I'm afraid to. But for myself, I am very pushy when it comes to integrating these things. When it comes to being with feelings, figuring out why things are the way they are. And yeah. And I am going to suggest that you watch this. And when you do, I hope you can, this brings a little bit more understanding. Yeah, this message is a sort of meant for her, but I think that it can be an interesting learning experience for others who watch this too. And so yeah, this loneliness and fear of separation, so many times I have experienced just beings just leaving me, just running away from me even. That was mostly when I was a, let's see, maybe, yeah, a child to a teenager. Like, when they run away from me, that was mostly a joke from their side. I get that, but it was still hurtful. Like when I were like 3 years younger than my brother and his friends, and when they decided to run away, I couldn't keep up with them, and so it felt like they just abandoned me. They just ran away from me. And I have also felt when I were in the stroller, I believe, that even though they might have been close by, I never really perceived them to be. Well, I did perceive them to be close by sometimes, but at other times it felt as if they just left me there. Like if they, because of the work or chores they did back at the house and out in the country. And so when they did their work, they might have taken me with them in the stroller. And when they did their work, it felt as if they just left me there in the stroller and just did their thing. As if, and sometimes depending on how long it took them to do their work, that's the amount of time I felt like, is there anyone here? Like, my energy is searching for them, but no one to be found near. Because they were focused on their work. They were focused on themselves to, keep everything running. They had no real focus on, like, being present with me. That focus was simply elsewhere. And so, like, this pattern of abandoning and, separation repeated a lot because of just so many chores. Like, even my brother at times ran away from me. Well, not ran away from me, but he have displayed at times when crisis arose that he was scared and acted out of it and ran to our parents, and just, I believe that he might, well, I'm even unsure what he did, because I have asked about it, but they didn't really give me a clear answer. And even, like, this one time, I believe my brother, I was in a stroller back then, like when I was 3, 4, 5 maybe? Yeah, I was in that stroller a lot. I can even remember the feeling of sitting in it still. That's how old I was, But maybe like 5, 4 or 5 when I, until I just stopped sitting in it, but it, because of that sort of old age, I could still remember, because I loved being pushed around by others. I just, I didn't have to walk. Like, it just was fun when someone else just, it's fun. I mean, who wouldn't be? It feels amazing just, you can just observe, you don't have to walk or anything. And so, my brother, he pushed me with this stroller and near a tree, and for some weird reason whatsoever, a branch, a relatively huge, large-ish branch, that tree, that was bound to happen, because that branch sort of was already sort of wobbly, and it's eventually it had to come crashing down. And just as we passed that tree, or as we just moved closer to it, that branch just had to sort of fall just on top of the stroller. My brother, most likely, since he was 3 years older, like he might have been between 6 or 8 maybe, I mean, he were afraid, like, when that happened. It's okay. I mean, it's understandable that they were. I mean, when you're that young, when things started happening like that out of the blue, you get scared. And at the same time, he was pushing me. Maybe he felt even responsible for, something. Anyway, he ran away to talk to my parents, I guess, and they did eventually, get me out of there. But still, like, I, yeah, there I were, like, waiting for everyone. And the second time he did that, something similar, we were out playing at night, and we we played with a bicycle, and he it and this situation ended with he was riding the bicycle and he were going to break the bike and stop just before me, like just so that he stopped just before getting close to me, before he touched me, but he the brakes didn't break soon, or like it no, the bike did hit me, but it didn't, like, this was weird. It's just he broke the, like, he did break and the bike slided close to me and it touched my feet. It didn't get, like, physically it didn't really hurt that much, and I fell over, like my balance just. I remember clearly. I just shouted "stop" and then I just fell backwards. Like, I don't even know. Like, what? Till this day, I am just still sort of a bit curious what really happened that day, and but he, for some reason, he was so scared. Like, we were a bit older now too, and like he ran away to our parents and just left me there. Didn't even wonder if I were okay or not. He just ran away. And I here's the more surprising thing. I cried when I lied there on the ground. Laid there on the ground. Anyway, and I was out there for maybe, I don't know how long. It might have been 10 or 20 minutes maybe. And I waited. This time I were conscious and genuinely waited for my parents to come out to me. I literally desired someone to come out to me. Nobody came. Nobody. Like, not my parents, not my brother, no anyone. Nobody came out to me to wonder if I were okay, or to care for me or anything. I remember even waiting for them to come. Like, after I had cried a bit, I want to wait here for them to come. Nobody. Like, did my brother even mention I was still out there? It's just, when I got back in, they acted like everything was okay, like nothing ever happened. I mean, I couldn't believe, like, at the time, I couldn't believe what they just did. Like, didn't they even wonder where I were? Didn't my brother even tell them that what had happened? Or did they just think, nah, he's okay. Like, yeah, and I mean, there are other examples where I have felt a little bit abandoned, but these are the most significant. And, this sort of an uninterest in my life or my path or being in general is a common theme among, our family. Like, as if they aren't even interested in what I do, am, or is. Meh. Like, it has always been an uninterest. And I mean, even now, if I don't call them, they won't call me. Like, they might only call me if there is some sort of businessy things to take care of, such as, for example, if I have the tech problems, because my brother he's good with tech, with the software and stuff like that, and so I call him for help, and then he leaves. Like, it's pretty much that. And my parents, like, if it is something with flowers and gardening or of any kind, I can talk to my mother because she's very good with sort of nature and flowers and gardening stuff. So I can talk to her about that. My dad, he's because he is the one. My dad is the one who have taught me so much in terms of contrast, and is a huge learning being for me that I can learn from. And because of him and I, we have spent so much time together talking with each other in the car, because he usually drove me around to appointments and everything. And so over the years, we have gotten a pretty good understanding of where I want to be and where he is at. And the realizations of this is that where I want to go, he don't want to. Like, he wants to be somewhere else than what I want to do or be or go. And like, yeah, my path didn't even, nope, that's just his way, but I know I'm right. Eventually he will get there. That's something he thinks. Like, until this day, he still have this belief that that he's right. That I will eventually come to his level of being because of his years of experience. And like, growing up, I was so used to being told that I was too young, like, to know things. I was too young, too inexperienced. I didn't know what I was talking about. That I still believe that he has sort of a flavor to it still. But now he does say, "You have come a long way." As if, like, he praises me, but at the same time, it feels as if he is talking to me from a sort of, "Oh yeah, you have come a long way. You have come a long way. I'm so proud of you for that. Yeah, it's just awesome. But just wait until you get to my experiences." I mean, seriously, like, why do I rarely talk about positive stuff? This woman I am talking to on a regular basis is the best interaction I have ever had in my entire life. If that isn't positive, I don't know what is. And like, this is the first time I have ever had this sort of smooth interaction talking with anyone, and it still feels safe. It still feels as if we both can feel this sense of ease and comfort. Like, it just feels more relaxed than a sort of jittery, something that almost you want almost to sort of almost attack them in a way. Or this is more, I believe she shares it as well, a feeling of, I want to be there with you. I want to hold you and just make you feel good, because we both want to feel good ourselves, and this is what we want with each other as well, to bring our own happiness, and thus each other's happiness is sort of interdependent, or what it is called, that if I make her happy, that makes me happy, and vice versa. And And so it is a very much sense of ease than a sort of battle of who is right and who is wrong. It is a more a sense of understanding and different perspectives instead. But because I want her to be happy so freakishly much, I maybe it is just me, like maybe because I am not really happy. Nobody can be happy every single second of the day. It's just impossible. But I still I feel there is this sort of misunderstanding when I talk to her about my past. I have to be honest, there are things about her past that I cannot understand. Like, I literally haven't had her experiences at some level. And those things I cannot relate to. Some things we do relate a lot with, but there are one specific flavor of her life that I just simply haven't had. But I want to understand that. I want to understand that part of her. I believe I might have something similar, but on the sort of flip side of her own experience, which makes I'm unsure if she does believe or no, not believe, but if she does relate to it or not, but I don't think she can. And this is what I feel. Otherwise I wouldn't feel it. Like, there is this feeling, just as she feels that I cannot understand her in that specific area of her life, the same goes for me. Otherwise I would feel that she does understand it. She does relate to it in some way. But I got to be honest here. I believe she don't. Like, it feels that way. No matter how I have had to sort of to bring forth an understanding of it. It just, she might be able to be present with, no, she is capable of being present with it. But just as she had told me, what she had been through is just so intense and so much that she won't, get everything out in one single stroke, if you will. Just pieces of it, and I can be with that. Like, I can be with those small pieces of information. The same goes for me and parts of my past. And the part of my past I believe she can't really relate to is this freakishly loneliness I feel. The path of sort of closing myself off back then to everyone, and I mean literally everything and everyone that like all beings on this earth, because I felt that hurt, but and I am sort of coming out of it, like, but this is only like the recent years. But that flavor in me, that is a flavor of my own, because of that sort of ingrained conditioning of choosing to be alone again and again and again. Like, I had that option of doing this. I had that option of choosing loneliness over a negative situation or a less positive situation. Like, so back then I simply chose to do the most healthy thing that was the healthiest option for me at that time. And that path was loneliness. Even if it were a chosen path that nobody like could blame me for. Well, you can, but any other path than that would have hurt me even more at the time. Like, I couldn't, I even wanted to run away from home. I couldn't. Back out of the country, it just, the neighbors were far in between, and everyone, like, when there aren't that many beings around, like, everyone knows everyone, and they would just call my parents, and they would come to grab me, like, because I couldn't explain myself back then. I was a teenager, and they, like, what did they tell me? You don't know what you're talking about. You're still too young. So it didn't really matter how much I explained myself, because nobody believed me. I was still too young. And I realized, like, I sort of realized this that when I was a teenager, that I couldn't. And I even thought about, like, no matter how much food I could carry with me, I couldn't survive in the woods for too long. And, eventually they would have found me. They would have just called for aid for others to help me, find me. And just eventually, I couldn't get away. And thus I was also dependent on them for my survival. It's just... So, that loneliness, like, they allowed me to go to my room. Eventually, after a lot of shouting and screaming at them, they did allow me to be with myself. And man, all those hours I played with myself, with those action dolls or action figures, just wanting to escape. So many hours spent on wanting just to escape that situation. I can't even describe that loneliness. But it was the healthiest option for me. The others hurt me. They weren't interested in it. They weren't interested in even sort of repairing that damage of wanting to choose loneliness. They couldn't. It's just... And, so I am careful not to share too much of this. This loneliness is my flavor. This loneliness is my flavor that is so hurtful that most beings won't be able to perceive it. We are social creatures. But the moment you choose to close off to that social structure, it is simply... I can't even describe that. It goes against everything a being is, a human being is. Humans are social creatures, and when you sort of choose to be alone because of hurt, it is just... You want to get out. You want to meet others, but at some perceived level, you feel that you can't. I couldn't. I felt that for years upon years, day after day, week after week, month after month. It is one of my greatest conditions. And now that I have found someone, if this video is too much, I apologize. It is understandable though why I feel like I do. But I just want to, since she is so far away, she is most likely asleep when I record this. It is a different time zone. And so I would have wanted to tell her this, but because of this, in the moment I wouldn't even feel maybe called to tell her all these things. And thus, when she feels up to it, I hope that she will feel willing to see this. And after you have seen all of this, I hope it have brought some understanding of my situation a bit more and to our relationship. Know that feeling that someone like you exists means more to me than anything. It means more to me than I could possibly explain. I love you. Thank you for watching.